Cynthia Rylant is an American Newbery author. She was born on June 6, 1954 in Hopewell, West Virginia to John Toon Smith and Leopold Rylant Smith. During her first 4 years, Rylant was living with her parents in Illinois. Her father was a sergeant in the U.S. Army and had fought in the Korean War. Cynthia's parents split up when she was 4 years old and moved with her mom to her grandparents' home in Cool Ridge, West Virginia. She never did see her father again, and later, when she was 13 years old, she found out that he passed away in the Veterans Hospital in Florida. Rylant's mother left her behind with her parents to attend nursing school for 4 years. Her grandparents were happy enough to take care of her. Cynthia's grandfather was a coal miner, and after an accident that left him disabled, the family turned to the government for food assistance. At 8 years old, she reunited with her mother and moved to Beaver, West Virginia. Growing up, Rylant said she was not much of a reader. She was not exposed to books because there were no libraries or bookstores where she lived. Cynthia Rylant enrolled at Morris Harvey College, which is now the University of Charleston. Originally, her major was nursing, but changed it to English after taking her first English course. In 1976, she received her master's degree at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. During that year, she married a man who was teaching classical guitar. Soon after, she gave birth to a son who she named after her favorite author, Nathaniel Hawthorne. After a few years, Rylant and her husband divorced. She then moved to Kent, Ohio, where she enrolled in Kent State University and received her library science degree in 1982. Since Rylant grew up without running water or indoor plumbing, she grew to love the country life. The country life was her inspiration for her first book, When I Was Young in the Mountains, which only took her an hour to write. When I Was Young in the Mountains was published in 1982 and received a few awards. The awards were Booklist Reviewer's Choice, American Book Award nomination, American Library Association Notable Book, Reading Rainbow Selection, English Speaking Union Across the Sea Ambassador of Honor Award, and it received a Caldecott Honor Book Award for its illustrations by Diane Good. In this book, Rylant shares her childhood memories in this very touching story. The story is about a girl who lives with her grandparents in the mountains. She swims in dark muddy holes, pumps pails of water to take baths, and goes to church on Sundays at the schoolhouse. At the end of the story, the girl says, "I never wanted to go anywhere else in the world, for I was in the mountains, and that was always enough." Every Living Thing was written in 1985 by Rylant, and the cover was illustrated by S.D. Schneidler. This book received the School Library Journal Best Book Citation. In this book, there is a collection of 12 short stories. In each story, an animal encounters a relationship with a person which causes a person to change their life for the better. Henry and Mudge is one of Rylant's popular series books. The series are being used in curriculums for 2nd and 3rd grade. In total, there are 28 Henry and Mudge books. All of the books were illustrated by Susie Stevenson. The Henry and Mudge books received the Children's Choice Award, Association of Booksellers for Children, Garden State Children's Book Award, and Children's Services section of the New Jersey Library Association. In 1987, Henry and Mudge, the first book, was the first published book of the series. The story is about a young boy, Henry, who has no brothers and no sisters nor friends on the street. He had been wanting a pet and asked his parents for a dog, and they said yes. That's when he found Mudge. Throughout the series, Henry and Mudge go through a variety of adventures where they both learn important lessons. In all 28 books, Susie Stevenson used pen and ink and watercolors for the illustrations. In 1990, Cynthia Rylant wrote Soda Jerk. and was illustrated by Peter Catalanato. In this book, there are only 6 paintings, in which were made with watercolors. Soda Jerk is a book that contains 28 poems and are all told by a non-popular high school student who works as a soda jerk in Cheston, Virginia. While he attends his customers, he makes observations about himself, his customers, and their environment. Soda Jerk is good quality poetry, but should be used with middle school and high school students. Cynthia Rylant received a Newbery Medal for Missy May, which was published in 1992. Missy May also received the Boston Globe Horn Book Award for Children's Fiction, Reading Magic Award, Parents' Choice Award, and Hungry Mind Award. In the book, Summer, the protagonist, loses her parents at a young age. She ends up in one adoption home to another. Finally, she finds a home with her Uncle Ob and Aunt May. Summer finally feels loved when May suddenly dies in her garden. Summer and Ob go through the stages of grief. Cletus, a neighbor and Summer's classmate, tells Ob and Summer about a woman who can contact with the dead. When they take a trip to see her, they receive news that she passed away. On their way back, Uncle Ob realizes he has to move on for Summer. Cynthia Rylant wrote and illustrated Dog Heaven, which was published in 1995. In her illustrations, she used acrylic. She made each one bleed off the page. In this book, Rylant describes a beautiful place where dogs go when they pass away. In Dog Heaven, dogs can run, eat biscuits, sleep on clouds, have a real home, and have bowls with their names on it. Since Rylant has always had a passion for animals, she includes them in her chapter and illustration books. The Tiki Taki Doll was written by Rylant and illustrated by Harvey Stevenson. It was published in 2002. The illustrations were made with acrylics and Caran d'Ache crayons on 400-gram Vinci Lavis paper. A little girl is given a hand-sewn doll, Tiki Taki Doll. The little girl grows to love her doll and does not want to leave her side. Though when school arrives, she learns that her doll must stay at home. While at school, the little girl does not want to learn or eat because she misses her doll. Finally, the grandma realizes that the little girl is sad because she misses Tiki Taki Doll. The grandma then makes a small version of Tiki Taki Doll so that the little girl can take her in her backpack to school. Another successful book for Cynthia Rylant was A Fine White Dust, which was published in 2006. A Fine White Dust received the Parents' Choice Award, American Library Association Notable Book, Horn Book Honor Book, and it received the Newbery Medal Honor Book. In the book, before the preacher man arrives in a small town in North Carolina, Pete feels comfort in religion, unlike his parents and his best friend Rufus, who is an atheist. When the preacher arrives in town, Pete and the preacher eventually become close, but causes tension with Pete's parents and Rufus. The preacher then asks Pete to join him on preaching and saving people. Pete cannot say no, which means he would have to leave everything he loves behind. One night, Pete waits to leave with the preacher, but the preacher ends up leaving town with a teenage girl. Pete feels betrayed, but Rufus, his best friend, helps him move on. In total, Cynthia Rylant has published about 137 children's stories, short stories, and poems. During an interview with Horn Book, Cynthia Rylant stated, "Writing has given me a sense of self-worth that I didn't have my whole childhood. I am really proud of that. The books have carried me through some troubled times and have made me feel that I am worthy of having a place on this earth." The end.